Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 49 of my PySimpleGUI lessons. In today's video, we're going to be introducing tables. So tables are something kind of like this. There's a row and we can give a header like number, product, and price. And then down here we have the values. Each row has their own value, and yeah, so this is a table. We can see there's two types of things. There's the header and a value. So if we want to make something like this, that's what we need to do. So we need to give this, let's say, define them first. Heads is simplified for a header. We can do number, product, and the price. Then for the, let's do value, or let's say val for value. For this, it's kind of like the same format as the layout. We use square brackets to represent all of this is the value. Then for each of these different rows, we make a new square bracket. So we can do first number, let's use 001, and let's give the product name, let's say milk, and a price, $5.99, and then the next row we use the next square brackets, and we can call this one 002, apples, let's give this $6.99, and then next we have the third one, cereal, for $10.99, $10.99, and then lastly, the fourth one, we have eggs, which is $11.99. Alright, so these are the values, and now we can, let's first import the library. Don't forget to do that. PySimpleGUI as SG, and then down here, let's make the layout. Define it. Layout is, let's just say, a simple table. T has to be capital for this element, capital T table, and then values equals val. Let's make this lowercase, val, and then headings is heads right here, heads. Okay, now we made the layout. Let's define the window, name it Python learning, give the layout, then we can do while true, event and values equals window.read, and then we can print the event and values. If event equals none, then we break, and then we close the window at the end. So now this is a really basic table. Let's run this. It would be like this. We have the numbers 001, 2, 3, and 4. The product, which is milk, apples, cereal, and eggs. And lastly, the price, we have $5.99, $6.99, $10.99, and $11.99. Alright, so that's the basic table. And now let's talk about some of its different attributes. So first, we have the auto size columns. If this is true, then the columns automatically size themselves. Like, we can make this bigger or smaller, but when we run this, it automatically sizes them. So like, let's run this again. Right now we can see they have automatic size, and some of them are like a little bigger than the others. Product is a little wider than price. Alright, so that's auto size columns, but sometimes this is kind of not accurate. So another way of defining, we can use define column width. COL define stands for column, and for this we can say, like, let's say 10. This is every single column has 10 characters, and now everything has 10. If we want this to be a little smaller, let's say 5, everything would have 5 characters. that's a little too small. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's say just leave it at 10. So yeah, that's a pretty good size. Okay, after defining the column width, we can use something called display row numbers. So this, if this is true, then the first row would be displaying the row numbers. So in the first, we have 0, 1, 2, 3. Compared to our numbers, this one is always one less, because in this first column, it starts at 0. That's how Python sees numbering. It starts at 0 and counts up. And so I don't really like that because of that reason. So let's just keep this as false. Oh wait, before I do that, I wanted to tell you, defining column width doesn't change the width of the row. Like, if I change this to something really big like 50, even though everything else becomes really wide, the row remains narrow. So defining the column width doesn't change row number width. So let's keep this as false. Go on. So next we have the justification. So again, it's either left, center, or right. We can write the whole word or the first letter. Let's say left, which is L in this case. And now everything is centered to the left. Okay, and then if this is centered, then it would be centered like this. All right, and to the right, it would be like this. Okay, so that's justification. And after that, we have the num rows. This is how many rows are shown on the screen. Like if we say 10, then there will be 10 rows that show up here. And if we make this number a little smaller, let's say 2, then we already have 4 rows here, so we can't show all of the rows. We can use the scroll wheel here and scroll through the different columns right here. All right, so that's number of rows. Let's keep this as 10 and go on. We have the row height. So the row height is each individual row, the height of the rows. So if we do, let's say 5, then, oh, sorry. It would be like this. As you can tell, the height is too little and we can't really see them. So let's make this a little bigger. Let's say 25. And now it would be like this. So that's a pretty good height for the rows. Let's go on. After row, we have the key. Let's just call this table. We can show this later on in the video. After key, we have the font. We have Times New Roman. Let's say that as the font type. And font size, let's say 15. Now, it would be like this. We have the Times New Roman font, and the size is a little bigger. The window accommodates the size by making it itself a little bigger. All right, so that's font. After font, we have the text color. So text color only changes the values. The text color for the values. Let's say a white text and a black background, like this. And if we look, the background is black with white text. But this only affects the values. So if we want to change the text and background color for the heading, we need to make that separately. So we do header, background color, let's say black, and the text color for header, let's say white. So now everything has a black background and white text. Let's differentiate the header and the background. Let's change black into gray. Now the header is black as the background and the background for the values are gray. Okay, and lastly, after all of these background and text values, we have the enable events. So this is a Boolean. If this is true, then every single time we select one of these, the row number shows up. The row number shows up, and as you can tell, it doesn't align with our numbering system here. That's because it aligns with the display row numbers over here. So if this is true, then every single time we select row number 0, it shows up as 0. 1, it would be 1, 2, and 3. By the way, the key is table, the one we defined here. And yeah, that should be all for introducing tables. Alright, that concludes lesson 49 of my PySimpleGUI course. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, crack the coding enigma with work for tuition as your sigma.